now.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the Emmaus Borough Council meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
All right, we're back to sounding horrible again.
That is bad.
Hey, last time was the best we had so far.
So
All right.
out of 12 months, we got it down once.
Yes, it sounded decent one time. All right, personal appeals part one. At this time, we'll have Shane unmute our virtual guest. If you have a appeal, please turn your video on, state your name, where you're from, and state your appeal.
Oh, hi, I can't turn my video on. I don't have access to do that.
Hold on just a second. Is that Lindsay? Is that what I saw?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I will ask you to start your video.
Hi, Lindsay.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Kleinberg. I live in the borough of Emmaus and I work within the Emmaus Arts Commission. I think that most of you may have gotten the presentation already in your packet. So I didn't want to take up a lot of your time since you can look over it at your own leisure. I just would like to approach the council about writing a grant for a art-inspired edible children's garden within the borough. I had mentioned that possibly we would do it at the library because I know that we had a sculpture garden that was planning on going there, but I'm completely open to going to any of the parks or another location if there's something available. I just do have to have the grant in by March 31st, so I'm trying to get the ball rolling. It's for $3,000 for an edible children's garden. And I was reading through the around the town, and there was a call for a need of food, specifically in East Penn on page 27. The Rotary Club was calling for, there's been a lack of food. And for me, having an art-inspired children's garden that's edible would help to bring children out to local spaces to enjoy nature and art and learn more about healthy food and have food that's available for them to pick and a place for them to go and play as well and do art and also have healthy food choices. So if you have any questions or anything, I know that there were some questions about that.
This was on the agenda for Community Relations Planning and Development under Chairwoman McManaman. Also, you guys discussed it in your committee, but you didn't have details at that. Well, you had some details. Shane and Terry, if you want to add anything to this, and then I do have a question or two.
So I'll defer to Terry for sure.
Okay.
So what Lindsay and the Emmaus Arts Commission is looking for is actually a letter of support. So the location that we had talked about at CRD and Ms. Baumgardner and Mr. Anders jumped in as well. We had questions whether the library was the appropriate location. So then we had chatted with Lindsay about that, and it really could be anywhere. The key to this is programs that she can tap into, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, the community garden folks, the garden club folks. And what they are in need of is a letter of support from us. So I think at this point, and this is through the Whole Kids Foundation, which is a Whole Foods grant application. And so they do ask for the application by March 31st. And when we chatted about it at committee level, some of the questions were whether it would actually need a fence or an area large enough for a fence, whether that would bring deer into the area, which Lindsay did respond to in her presentation, that she is choosing plants that would not be attractive to deer or to wildlife because of either their odor or the taste. And as far as the fence, I think it's Lindsay's wish to be sure that the community is able to participate. So she didn't really want the aesthetic of a fence unless it was a decorative fence, not to keep anything out. So I think it was our position that we just needed more details, which I think Lindsay gave in her presentation that we have seen. And then the other highlights, Shane or Ms. Baumgardner or Mr. Andrews, if you want to jump in.
I just have a question for Lindsay. I know, Brent, you had a question. Is it okay if I? Okay.
Sure, go ahead.
I just wanted to know, in terms of the grant, do you have to specify a location, or is that something that as long as it's within the Emmaus would be okay, enough detail for them?
Right, so the grant is very, very flexible. Their main purpose is to make sure that edible children's gardens are available to at least 10 children. So that's why I was thinking, if it's a borough park, maybe something that is not used as much, or somewhere by the library where there's children's programs already and elementary schools go there, and something's just accessible to any of the children in the borough, especially with all the hardships they've had through COVID and not being able to have a place to meet up without playing on equipment per se. So the grant is very flexible, and you don't have to save receipts. You don't have to give like a full plan. They allow for flexibility if you need to change location. And it just, you just need to have the support from your community and a letter of support as well.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else with questions? Roy?
Not really a question, but I was just thinking out loud, with our park study and that, and with something like, Lions playground being redone and possibly something like that, where, kids do go, but it's like an easy place to come to. Maybe something like that could be drawn into it as we're looking at our park study, and that could be brought up as well. Just as an idea besides the library, I think, they have some designs there, and maybe there's an area that they could fit that in to show it. That, or Borough Line, where we're actually getting some plans done for. So maybe that's something that we could ask, our park study to look at.
Anyone else? Well, I would imagine that we're just going to approve the grant application, and the details would be decided by the council later as to where it's going and design. One concern I have, well, two. First, I saw you, Lindsay, mostly on all this project. Is this something that's going to be an Arts Commission project, or is it more your project? Because I want to know if the Arts Commission is all participating in it or not.
So I am going to, at our next meeting, talk about starting a environmental art committee within the Arts Commission. And I know that there are several members that are very into artistic gardening. Patty just won an award from the Garden Club last year for her backyard garden. So I'm going to open it up to the rest of the EAC at our next meeting to see who else would like to participate, since some of the members are not already on chairs that are going on for events for this year. So it would be for a few people to be working on.
Okay. And then the second part is, I didn't see this brought up during the committee meeting minutes, but in the past, we've had issues with volunteers building things in the borough, where it ends up that the public works has to go in and fix stuff. I guess we can make sure that doesn't happen when we grant the actual project and how it's going to be put together. You agree with that, Shane?
Yeah. Yes.
I mean, that's all stuff that can be decided later. I did see that you're looking for volunteers though, and if that were to not pan out, where would that leave the project? Would it be your commission that would do it then?
Yes, I'm also going, I was just waiting to get approval to write the grant since it is due on March 31st. So I haven't been able to reach out to other people to get another partner within the borough because I was waiting for permission first. But I was, after reading the around town, thinking of reaching out to Rotary, depending on if it's at one of the parks or someone else within the East Penn Food Coalition to see if this would be something they'd be interested in, so that they can then go and utilize it within other places within Lower Macungie Township or the other bordering areas, because they do give out at least 500 to 600 of the grants a year. And if you are not approved in this round, then they also put you on a wait list and they give the grants multiple times a year.
Okay, and I did see, if I read it correctly, it's not till August that it's granted, so you have plenty of time to plan, and we'll have more information through our committee structure.
Mhm.
So, all right, so I'm assuming that you're looking for a motion to apply for the grant, and it is a non-matching grant. This is $3,000 for the project and nothing from the borough itself.
Right.
Is it through the
Yes.
borough that the grant is applied for, or is it just you doing it through the Arts Commission?
I wasn't sure what the process was for that, if we can apply for it
Well,
directly.
So the Arts Commission is the borough, if you recall. They would have to use our tax identification number. So it is technically through the borough, even though the Arts Commission will lead the way.
All right, would somebody like to make that motion?
Hey, Brent, one more thing. Wasn't the community garden donating, or not donating, setting aside a couple of extra plots to do something similar? I'm wondering if.
Yeah, it's a little bit different. They really utilize the food bank is who they donate,
Okay.
most of their food to. This is a little bit of a different effort. I mean, you're still feeding community members, but yeah, what they do is people that have extra seeds and extra plants, they use those plots and manage them and then harvest the food and donate to the food bank.
Okay.
Anybody else? So somebody like to make the motion to apply for the grant?
I would like to make a motion that we write a letter of support for Lindsay and the Arts.
Councilwoman McManaman, seconded by Councilman Balliet. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. Thank you, Lindsay.
All right, thank you very much.
Good luck with the grant.
Thanks, have a great night.
All right, so I have to allow other people to unmute themselves. I muted everybody again because there was background.
Okay, so at this time, if there's anybody else in our virtual public there, if you have a public appeal, now's the time to do it. You need to unmute yourself if you're going to make an appeal. All right, hearing none, we'll allow Shane to mute everyone again.
All right.
Councilman Balliet, Councilwoman Baumgartner, Councilman Hart, Councilman Anders, you need to all unmute yourself. Good to go. All right, community minute. Does anyone have a community minute to bring forward? Hearing none, there's no special presentations. Reading of the minutes. We have the March 1st set of minutes. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve the minutes? Councilman Hart, seconded by Councilman Dufresne. Any discussion, corrections, or additions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. No decisions on bids. Communications, we have the reappointment of Brent Stringfellow for the Planning Commission with a term expiring April 1st, 2025. Would somebody like to make the motion to approve that? Councilman Anders, seconded by Councilman Balliet. Any discussion? From what I heard, he's doing an excellent job on the Planning Commission.
Yeah, Brent has he's been wonderful. He's led the way with the Southwest Comprehensive Plan. He's a major part of everything that we're doing within the commission, and he's really helped us step up the level of performance of that commission. And we really appreciate the efforts that he's given the community.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. We received a letter of reappointment for J.P. Raynock to the Planning Commission with the term expiring April 1st, 2025. Same term.
Motion.
Motion by Councilwoman McManaman, second by Councilman Hart. Any comments on him, Shane?
I will tell you that I do. So JP is that person on that commission that offers a different perspective that you have to really appreciate, because he's not an architect, but he's a professional in the community. He's also, he's not an old guy, but he has that old heart, if you know what I mean. And so he appreciates the history of the community more than what most people do. And so that really helps when we're talking about all this new development. He'll remind us, that Emmaus, the culture and the historic significance of the community is what it is. And before we go and just carte blanche approve something with neon lights, we need to remember that. So I do appreciate everything he puts into it as well.
Thank you. All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. We did receive an email from a Linda Destin, who lives by Burline Park. Her concern about the added crowd there since the pandemic, and some of the issues that are going on at the park. I would like to refer that to the mayor and also the safety committee and see if they could address some of those issues. We received a letter of impending retirement for Victoria Shadler for a date of December 31st of 2020. It could be any time before that. She will notify us, but the latest it would be December 31st. Correct, Shane?
Correct. And I just want to point out that Tori, you want to talk about somebody that's been a mainstay in this community. She's worked for us for 44 years. I don't know how many of you have been in the same place for 44 years, but some of us haven't been alive that long. And she has lived and breathed this community, both in the EMS side and the fire side. And, everything she's given us, she will sadly be missed when she does retire, but we definitely appreciate everything she's done for the community.
I can appreciate 42 years, you said?
44 years.
44 years. I can appreciate that. I've been at my work for 33 years and I'm not going to reach 44. So
Right.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
That's her whole career, basically.
Yep, absolutely.
18 and 44, that takes you to retirement. So, all right. Well, with that being said, if we all get to see her before she leaves and thank her for her service, I'm assuming we have several months to do that. So motion, no, we don't have to do a motion to accept it, right? All right. And then we have a request to close Alpine Street for crane operation. I believe it was only for like half a day. Is that something that we can just send to the mayor?
Yeah.
To handle? And I think from what I read, it only affects one neighbor. So I'm sure that can be worked out. Borough engineers report. We have none. Solicitors report. I'm sorry, I didn't ask if anyone else had any letters of communication. Did anybody to bring forward? All right, solicitors report.
Thank you, Mr. President. A major goal is I finally got the Verizon agreement done. There's a lot of very technical things in it, but I was really trying to protect the character of the borough. I know it's a historical, it's a Moravian village type thing. You don't want it destroyed by a whole bunch of inappropriate towers. So we've done what we can. Yeah, I sent Shane the unredlined version. I'll send him a redline version tomorrow. It doesn't mean they'll accept it yet. They have it now, but we'll see what happens. I don't think it's going to go on much longer, and I think we'll have 5G sometime this summer. And I report progress.
Thank you. That brings us to unfinished business part 1, ordinance 1211. We had first reading on February 16th. Tonight would be second reading. Ordinance 1211, an ordinance of the Borough of Emmaus, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania, amending Chapter 15, subsection 602.3.a of the Emmaus Borough Code, adding a residential disabled parking sign and assigning a permitted parking spot on the public street located in front of 1248 West Minor Street, and amending Chapter 15, subsection 602.2.a, adding a disabled parking sign on the public street located in front of 555 Broad Street within the Borough of Emmaus. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve second reading of ordinance 1211? Councilman Hart, seconded by Councilwoman McManaman. Any discussion on this? Pretty routine. This is a roll call vote. Councilwoman McManaman,
Aye.
Councilwoman Baumgartner,
Aye.
Councilman Dufresne,
Aye.
Councilman Balliet,
Aye.
Councilman Hart,
Aye.
Councilman Anders,
Aye.
Councilman Layberg, aye. Did I miss anyone? I don't think so. That's 7 ayes. Sorry, there's a lot more squares than usually. We have nothing under new business or unfinished business part 2. Does anybody have anything to bring forward on the agenda that's not scheduled? Hearing none. Madam Mayor's report.
Thank you. On your iPads this evening is Proclamation 2021-502, a proclamation in recognition of the 75th anniversary of David's Electric. 75 years ago in the month of March, David's Electric was opened in the Borough of Emmaus, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania. Whereas the local business is integral to the growth and longevity of a community, and the strength of local business is dependent on the support of the community. And whereas in 1946, Edward and Arlene David opened David's Electric at 710 Chestnut Street, Emmaus, and 1 year later moved to their current location at 314 Main Street, Emmaus. And whereas Pat, Edward's daughter, was 11 years of age at the time the business was opened. And whereas Pat can still be found working the showroom floor with her son Harold and her grandson Mike. Whereas to this day, you will find Pat and her family proudly continuing what her father started. And whereas 75 years later, David's Electric continues to provide quality products and service to the residents of the Borough of Emmaus. Now, therefore, I, Leanne Gilbert, Mayor of the Borough of Emmaus, and on behalf of Emmaus Borough Council, extend our congratulations on this milestone. I do hereby recognize David's Electric of Emmaus on its 75th anniversary and offer sincere best wishes for many more years of success. On this 15th day of March, 2021, in the Borough of Emmaus, Lehigh County, Pennsylvania. And I will be delivering that proclamation to her tomorrow, sometime. Not quite sure what time I'll go down, but I will be delivering the proclamation. Also, the second annual celebration of Bells Across Pennsylvania will take place on Sunday, May 2nd at 7 p.m. I will be reaching out to the places of worship here in the borough and asking that the church bells ring for 3 minutes in honor of our hometown heroes that continue to work through this pandemic. That's all I have. I'll report progress.
Thank you. That's great. Committee reports, Public Works Committee, Chairman Anders.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have one item for official action this evening. As you may be aware that we have a position for a full-time Public Works new employee. We previously held our interviews, and I'm happy to announce that we would like to hire Mr. Timothy Wright to join the Public Works Department in a full-time capacity. Shane, is this contingent upon like any
Successful completion of background.
background? Thank you. And that would be my motion to hire Mr. Reitz, excuse me.
Motion by Councilman Anders, second by Councilman Balliet. Any discussion? All those
He
in favor?
interviewed very well. And I think he's going to be a great asset to our team.
Yeah, so background for him, heavy in the sewer work, side of the business, which is big for us because that's what we're looking for. Also general labor, construction, roofing, masonry,
Landscaping.
the landscaping part. So the general type of work, that we need, that we can send somebody into a building and he'll be able to do something. He has that background as well. So he's very well rounded for an applicant. So yeah, very happy with this round of hiring.
Yeah, we interviewed 3 people and they were on a list and this was the 3rd, and they were all great applicants, and we're lucky to have all 3 of them. So anybody else have comments? All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
Our meeting notes, we did meet earlier last week. One area that I did want to mention was our compost hours. As you may have recalled, we did a robo that we will be starting compost to open next Monday, the 22nd. Our hours Monday, Wednesday, and Friday will be from 7:30 to 2:30 p.m. and Saturday, Saturdays from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. And we will have loading on Wednesday evenings. Is the only day that we will load material from 3 o'clock to 7 p.m. And with that, you'll see the other notes in my report progress.
You said Monday, Wednesday, Friday open till 2:30, but actually Wednesday we're open to 7:30.
Oh, thank you.
Which you can assume since you said you can load from 3 o'clock to 7:30.
Correct, 3 to 7.
All right.
Thank you for the correction, Brett.
All right. So, and let's mention that people should have their IDs when they go up there, so they are going to be checking residents to make sure that they're actual resident of the borough. If they don't have an ID or they are not a resident of the borough, they will be turned around. I believe they will also be signing in on a clipboard.
Yep.
With their name and address, so that we can track who's coming and going. Only because of the issues we had in the past, so we're trying to handle those issues. All right, thank you, Chairman Anders. Health, Sanitation, and Codes Committee, Chairman Balliet.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have nothing for official action tonight, as we have not had a meeting since our last meeting. Our next meeting will be March 31st at 4:45. With that, I will report progress.
Thank you. Parks and Recreation Committee, Chairwoman Baumgartner.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, we have one item for official action, the swimming pool opening for the 2021 season. So this is not something we typically vote on, but considering last year and the situation last year and the closure, we decided that we needed to discuss it at the committee level and actually have an official vote to support the opening of the pool season, since that requires some effort now in getting prepared for that. So you'll see in the meeting minutes some of the explanation of the discussion we had, but I would like to put that in the form of a motion to approve the swimming pool opening for the 2021 season.
Motion by Councilwoman Baumgartner, seconded by Councilman Anders. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes, and it will be nice to see something in the borough get back to normal.
And the governor just announced this evening that they're lifting even more outdoor restrictions. So
50%.
Mhm. And just a reminder, right, we did budget for it, so we did consider it during the budget season. So it'll be nice to be able to offer that into the community. I know that some people have already been asking about it and looking forward to it. So
we also purchased a point of sale system, and Jessica just told me today that she finished programming everything and it's ready to roll. So that's exciting news too.
That's the system that also keeps track of the quantity of concession
Inventory.
stand items as well. And
Yep.
great, yeah. I wanted to mention that during our last committee meeting, the president of the Recreation and Entertainment Commission joined us, and he was sharing his plans as the commission's plans for the concert series this summer. So we will have several concerts happening. There'll also be 2 movie nights anticipated for this summer. So that's coming up as well. We also had Brent Boyer from our pool study with us, and he gave us an update on the pool, and also did not feel that there were any concerns about opening the pool for the summer season. And he is also we're conducting a pool study that involves a survey. So we do have the park study as well as the pool study, both have surveys. And there are also additional public meetings for the park study that are continuing to happen. So the park study, the next meeting will be March 31st. That's a virtual meeting. That'll be for the overall study. And then there will be a specific park study, I believe. Is it for Lions? There's one on April 1st, and then there's one for Borough Line on April 7th, or I might have switched those two. But those are coming up as well. So we're trying to promote that and get more public attendance. And that's kind of the highlights of our meeting. Our next meeting will be April 6th at 4:45 p.m. via Zoom. I report progress.
Thank you, Chairwoman Baumgartner. Public Safety Committee, Chairman Hart.
Thank you, Mr. President. In addition to the 2 disabled parking spaces that were previously approved, I only have one action item, and that's the purchase of a crosswalk warning system. This issue got a great deal of debate in the Public Safety Committee as a result of one of our focuses this year on pedestrian safety in the borough. It also was discussed at the Budget and Finance Committee to move forward with the purchase of this particular item. A picture of it is in your packet. It is different than what we have there now. It is a push button where it's not blinking all the time. It will blink when someone walks up to it and pushes the button, and the blinking lights are somewhat more substantial than what we currently have. So I'd make a motion that we move forward and purchase this, predicated on PennDOT's final approval.
Motion by Councilman Hart. Second by Councilman Dufresne. Questions? The only question I have is looking at the, I think it was 5 pages. Are there lights going across the street, or is it only on the sign?
Only on the signs.
Okay, because this page 2, there was a picture and it made it look like there was lights.
It does. I saw the same thing, Brian.
So there are, so remember, those are the illustrative. There are crosswalks where they can and they do light up.
Right, that's why I asked, because
Yeah,
I've seen them already.
But this one doesn't. This one
Okay.
doesn't. include
I
that.
just wanted to clarify, because
It's a good question, because the one illustration does show that we're not purchasing
all right.
street lights.
Any other questions? All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
Thank you. Our next meeting is scheduled for April 12th at 9:15 a.m. as a Zoom meeting. And with that, I'll report progress.
Thank you, Chairman Hart. General Administration Committee is myself. We have the firefighter contract extension. It's an extension of 1 year. The only 2 changes are there will be a 3% raise, and there will be a $50 footwear allocation that they have to put a receipt in to get reimbursed. Other than that, everything will remain the same, and we will negotiate a contract in 2022 then. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve the firefighter contract extension? Councilman Dufresne, seconded by
Second.
Councilwoman McManaman. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. Our next meeting is April 8th on a Thursday at 9 a.m. Via Zoom. Progress. Budget and Finance Committee, Chairman Dufresne.
Thank you, Mr. President. You'll see in there the list, the revenue and expenditure performance for February 2021. That's in your packet. And the first item that we have for approval tonight is the bill list. So Resolution 2021-11, resolved by Borough Council to authorize payment of the March 15th, 2021 bill list as follows. Bill list $266,591.03. Payroll number 5, $166,081. Payroll taxes, $53,473.83, for a total bill list of $486,146.42 done this 15th of March 2021, and I'll place that in the form of a motion.
Motion by Councilman Dufresne, seconded by Councilman Hart. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
You can see the significant revenue and expenses listed in there for the first half of March 2021. And then we have another item that needs official action tonight. So in 2020, we're probably all aware we had multiple discussions during last year and during the budget process this year that we withheld $19,250 of library funding in 2020 due to COVID and, you know, our own uncertainty and our own budget. And we did agree to write into the 2021 budget, you know, some capital in our capital fund for $19,250 towards the library if they were going to do some capital projects in 2021. So I am making a motion tonight we did talk about that committee. I am making a motion tonight to release $19,250 from our capital fund to the library for their capital projects in 2021. So that's in the form of a motion.
Motion by Councilman Dufresne, seconded by Councilman Hart, and it was recommended from the committee by a 3-0 vote. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes.
Okay, and then you can see in there the meeting notes from our meeting this past week. And then our next meeting is April 8th at 11 a.m. on Zoom, report progress.
Thank you. We have Community Relations Planning and Development Committee, Chairwoman McManaman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing for official action this evening. I do want to thank everyone for the support of the Arts Commission and this edible garden and art project. I think it'll be very exciting and something that the public art side of the Arts Commission will be getting more involved in. You'll see the CRD meeting notes are attached. Some of the projects that we are working on, I'll be speaking about more in depth in the coming weeks, but do pay attention to those meeting notes. And our next meeting is scheduled for Monday, April 12th at 4:30 via Zoom. I report progress.
Thank you, Chairwoman McManaman. Junior Councilman Jonas, your report.
Hi. The school board on March 8th released a presentation detailing a survey as well as sort of guidelines for what their plan is for spring. And it was geared towards parents about COVID-19 procedures and their comfort towards new procedures. And if you actually go on the high school website, you can see if they provide like little charts, everything just showing the results from this. Highlights include that half of parents would like to see their students in a 5-weekday learning environment by the end of the school year, as well as sort of parents' thoughts on different social distancing given specific circumstances, like if faculty was vaccinated or the amount of community spread at the given time. And the presentation also covers more specific details like maintenance of their HVAC systems, transportation procedures, and mask protocols for what is upcoming. So if you want to know more about that, you can go on the Emmaus High School website and go under school news, and it'll give you all those details. And with that, I report progress.
Thank you, Jonas. You have the Emmaus Main Street meeting notes and the Emmaus Arts Commission meeting notes. Personal appeals part 2. Does anybody have a personal appeal in our virtual world? Shane will unmute you. You'll have to unmute yourself. And if you have an appeal, state your name and where you're from. Hearing none. Shane, you can mute them back. And
Hold on. Just hold on. So you got to remember when I go to mute everybody again, I have to mute everyone.
right, so council members have to unmute themselves, Shanna and John. All right. Hearing none, Borough Manager's report.
So I have 2 items. The first one, I'm going to ask that you move to the Public Safety Committee. I didn't realize that the grant isn't due until May, so we have plenty of time. What it is it's an EMS agency grant through Highmark. Our ambulance is looking to apply for a grant for new Life Pack 15s. We last purchased them in 2004. The life expectancy is, depending on who you listen to. Some organizations say it's 5 years. Some say it's 7 years. Nonetheless, we've reached the life expectancy. They're very expensive. I mean, you can see we're talking upwards of $130,000 for the 3 units. They're about $43,000 a piece. So I would like, if you don't mind, send it over to public safety to talk about. That'll still give, if Borough Council approves it at their second meeting in April, that still gives us a month to apply for the grant.
That's fine. We'll send it there. And we're lucky to get a grant, if we get something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Second item, I just want to brief on. I don't want to get into too many details because we don't have a lot of details yet. But with this federal stimulus money, the borough is set to receive about $1.13 million. I sent you an email on the 4 items that we would be eligible for. In reality, there's one on there that really actually fits the bill. I'm not sure how we could justify most of the rest of them, but that one item is for water and sewer infrastructure, which we are in desperate need of addressing, as we talk about, it seems like every other committee meeting. So I'd like you to start thinking about the provisions that I sent you in that email the other day. As you know, we have plenty of time to talk about it, so we don't need to debate it at this point, but just start thinking about how you want to handle that. And I would imagine that Budget and Finance will probably have the deeper discussions as to how we want to approach that.
Okay.
Other than that, I will report progress unless you have any questions for me.
Any questions for Shane? All right, President's business. Well, first 25 years of my life, I never ran into anyone named Brent. Other than Brent Musburger, I didn't run into him, but he was an announcer on TV. And now we have 3 Brents in the borough: Brent Reed, Brent Stringfellow, and now there's Brent Boyer from the Pool Commission, or Pool Studies. So and then of course I'm Brent, but I just find that strange that there's 4 Brents out there. So with that being said, motion to adjourn.
Do I put that in the minutes? I mean, how exactly?
It's a sign from above, Brent.
I didn't know. I never knew it would be popular. Councilman Dufresne, second by Councilman Valiant. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed say no. There are 7 ayes. Meeting adjourned at 7:44.